What's up, Sticks TV gang? We got Big P coming straight off of Johnson Street Projects on the east side of Charleston, South Carolina, the first ghetto in America. Alright, now growing up, Big P would live in one of the most dangerous projects on the East Coast in the late 90s and early 2000s. The Johnson Street Projects, better known as Cooper River Court and Meeting Street Manor, would host broad day shootouts, drug slinging, and prostitution. The projects is basically two projects across the street from each other. The brown brick projects that sits on East Bay is considered Cooper River Courts, and the colorful projects that sits on Meeting Street is called Meeting Street Manor. But shit, let me take y'all boy about 90 years back after the 1929 market crash when Charleston was labeled the worst place to live. It is a known fact that half of the African Americans had no toilets and more than half of the people went without bathtubs. 21% of the people had no running water, and the infant mortality was 29.5%, and that was the highest than the whole country put together. In 1933, the Housing Commission had been established by the city of Charleston to get rid of the harsh living conditions. But due to the worsening conditions, Charleston was selected as one of the first cities to create public housing. So by 1936, the Meeting Street Manor and Cooper River Courts were built using a painted brick veneer over wood frame and red shingles. The total cost was $3.5 million, and the Cooper River Courts housed the African Americans while Meeting Street Manor housed the low-income whites. The government separated these two groups on purpose. By 1942, the Cooper River Court extension was built up the street for World War II workers. Alright, now, Big P grew up in the projects in the early 2000s. At the young ages of 9 or 10, Big P would see guys doing drive-bys on bikes. The Eastside projects would be the deadliest projects a person could walk through before the city of Charleston started handing out distribution charges. By ages 14 and 13, Big P would hit the streets as a grown man. 9 times out of 10, when someone saw Big P coming on his bike, they would avoid Big P. Big P was known to run inside your pockets if you wasn't like that. Big P would be considered like a pioneer in his generation when it came to stepping and gangsterifying his surroundings, because Big P would be about 30 right now, and if you come to Charleston and ask anybody between the ages of 25, 35, they'll tell you who Big P was. But on a cold night in January of 2009, Big P would be walking when a gunman ran up on him. Big P tried to run, but he was struck multiple times. Big P would be the first murder of 2009. What's up, Sticks TV? Now, y'all boy know I gotta give y'all boy the history side, and I gotta give my take on the street side. Now, with the history, basically about 100 years ago, back in the 1920s, the 1930s, which was about 50 years, 60 years after slavery, they had a lot of African Americans struggling. You see what I'm saying? Up in North Charleston, you see what I'm saying? It been a lot of people struggling with no place to sleep. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't say no places to sleep at the moment. They had real harsh conditions. And the city of Charleston started building public housing and all that. You see what I'm saying? So that would made the Eastside projects one of the first projects in America. You feel what I'm saying? But on the street side, Big P is actually one of my childhood role models, and what I can learn, what I always learned from Big P is it don't matter, and all this public records now, like, you see what I'm saying? But what I learned from Big P is that it don't matter what the situation is, it don't matter if you had something to do with the situation or not. It don't matter if you ain't even getting in shootouts. It don't matter. It don't matter, because in the city of Charleston County at nighttime, if you walking without that thing, a op ain't even got to be looking for you. But because Charleston's so small, We only got like 3 streets on the main peninsula: Sproul, Rivers, and Dorchester. Charleston so small, the ops ain't even got to be looking for you to bump into you and thing you. You see what I'm saying? And if you ain't got that thing, you ain't you helpless. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I learned from Big P is it don't matter where I at. It don't matter if I ain't did nothing to a certain person. It don't matter. It don't matter. Keep that thing on you at all times. And not only keep that thing on you, you gotta be aware when you got that thing on you like you in the army. So bang, bang, bang. You see what I'm saying? But that's your boy Marlo, man. Rest in peace, Big P, man. I out.